3 years from 72. That's when the band started. By 1973, now we were transitioning into the hotel circuit. Reason being, we used to do the weddings, and one day we went to a wedding, and some goons just attacked us when we were on break. And of course, music, very, very silently, because it was taboo back then for kids my age to be indulging in music.
What?
Yeah.
What does that mean?
You know, to date, the places where any youngster indulging in music wanakuwa labeled wakora.
Yes.
That was 1,000 times more back then.
Yeah.
In fact, I would say not to blow our own horn. We stood the ground to break that.
No, blow that horn. This is the place to blow that horn.
Yeah.
Yes.
So back then it was so I kept my musical activities away from my peers, my friends at school.
So, oh man, what's the name of the school you went to?
Aga Khan Primary School, yeah.
No, for high school?
For high school, Alidina Visram.
Alidina Visram.
Yeah, high school.
Excellent school.
Wonderful, one of the best back then.
One of the best back then. So the instruments are there, but it's not for you to say, I want to be you'd play it just, there was no music lessons?
No, we didn't have that.
What?
We didn't have that.
So
you know, our education system has always been built around academics. You can see they're struggling now. We had music, they pulled it out. Now with the CBC, they're bringing it back.
Yes.
So they see it now, but back then it was apana, watoto wa skuli kwanza ukishika gita tu ripoti imefika nyumbani. They see you in the mtaani, umeshika gita mahali, ripoti inafika nyumbani. Yule mwanao namuona kule Sparky ana watu wa magita ataharibika yule. That was what we.
So you've just painted a picture that your career has been uphill.
Yes.
Very diagonally steep.
Yes.
It's like a right angled triangle, and you're the obtuse or whatever that thing was. The diagonal climb.
Kabisa.
Extremely difficult. Okay. So what was it? Was it that there are so many jobs now available and not enough personnel to get those positions? So be a doctor, be a lawyer. Is there a disbursement of the whites from Kenya returning back home, and now there's all these vacuums being filled?
Exactly. That's what they used to do. You know, because the whites were leaving, they used to come to schools, like Alidina Visram being one of the top schools back then. They would come and say, okay, we are going to take a batch of 20 within these grades and we'll employ them. Employers, corporates used to come to schools.
Guy.
You get?
Yeah.
So if you performed well academically,
yes, talent
was not really in the picture, you were guaranteed a job.
There was nobody coming to say, we're looking for a guitar player for a hotel.
Never. Wapi.
And then what are you doing? Playing guitar? Well, there's job opportunities here.
Yeah.
I get it.
Yeah.
This is the whole.
I'll give you an example. Even at home. At home, our late father had a book, and he looked at us, ameandika, okay, Teddy atakuwa hivi, Ruth atakuwa hivi, Billy atakuwa hivi, George, my late brother,
yes.
Katana, he said I was going to be an administrator. In that book, we still have it. Atakuwa administrator, Betty atakuwa nurse, and Dennis, I can't remember, our last born. That was his thinking. But our mother was, kama yuko North Pole, alikuwa South Pole. Our mother was saying, ile talent Mungu amewapatia ndio tutawapeleka mbele.
Ma. Then.
Yeah, back then.
Your mom is a hero.
So going back to Alidina, I was there. I was proper in music, in a band. We perform on Wednesdays in Malindi. So what I used to do, I have a bicycle. I had a bicycle. Saa 10 kengele ikilia, I rush like madness home. Nikifika, we load the equipment in the van. We are off to Malindi. We perform at the Eden Rock Hotel. And then we come back at night. So I'm back home by around 3:30, nalala kidogo, naamka naoga, I rush to school. That was routine.
And your mom was like, do what you got to do.
She said, your talent, but don't bring me bad grades. That's why nearly all of us, okay, it was by God's grace.
Yes.
Grey matter ilifanya kazi, tulipass karibu wote.
Okay. I skipped over a big part. Your dad looked like he was a serious rock in the family.
Sana.
From a financial perspective, he's just a rock in the family, not just even from a financial perspective. He was the rock of the family. So his exit must have been a bit devastating for you. Was devastating for you. Can you talk a bit about that and how then the adjustment, was there some adjustments how was that like? What was the adjustment?
It was devastating. Very devastating. First and foremost, financially, because our mom was a housewife. Of course, our dad had businesses. He was a shareholder at the then Kenya Beach Hotel. He had a company called Etched, which was making soap and detergents. You know, he was one of the first Africans to be a shareholder in a tours and safaris company, Kilimanjaro Tours and Safaris. I remember that. Okay. When they launched it, we had the photos. All right. And then a few other things. So when he passed on, we were very young. All these things started going, you know, because none of us was old enough to go and start fighting for shares and all these things.
And did you even know?
Of course, most of the things used to, you know, bring like when they were launching the Kilimanjaro Tours and Safaris, he came home with all these photos and his partners and all these things. And his partners used to come home. Okay. But when he passed on, funny thing, all these guys just disappeared. Kabisa, not even after 2-3 months. No, they just disappeared. So we were all alone with our mom. Even some of our relatives who used to flock our house on a weekend, you think it's a community hall, they all disappeared. So we were left in God's hands and our mother.
Wow.
It was so painful, man.
Yeah.
Very painful.
I'll be honest and say you were extremely wealthy as for that time.
For that time, I would say our dad was.
Know what I mean? Yeah, your dad. In fact, let me use the right English. Yes.
Yeah.
I'm trying to show the amount of loss that happened. Your dad was a wealthy Kenyan. That doesn't negate his work or anything that he's done, and I'm just painting a reality picture. He was doing well for himself. Yeah. And able to, that was able to give you a lot of access into different opportunities, like the school you're talking about that you went to. Yeah. So by the time he leaves the picture, your norms, probably even the grapes you're eating for breakfast change. Yeah. And as you rightfully said, your mom was a housewife. Yeah. So what happens? Okay, what happened is our mom just, she was a lioness. And you're 6 at this time? 7. 7, yeah. Uh-huh. She was a lioness. First of all, she started fighting to get what she knew was our dad's. Okay. So back then there was this office called the public trustee. She went there, fought to be listed as the next of kin, and started earning the pension. You're right. Mm-hmm. And then now she didn't know
but she was now trying to contact all these friends, and some were dodging, but she did so well, and eventually she just remained with one piece of I would call it back then a bar, because our dad had one in Mariakani. So she eventually became a shareholder or a director in that. And then all these other things, she was just fighting throughout. We could see it. And young as he may be, God picked our brother Billy, the third born, to be there with our mom. Okay. So he became like the, what can I say, anything to do with government, because he started that at a tender age of 18. Okay. He knows how the government works because of that. So you see, God removed our dad, but he gave Billy this. He gave us all these things. So it was tough because it's like just flipping a coin.
Man.
Yeah.
Apologies for that. Like I've sat down with people, and I've had, this is the second, or not even the second, this so many conversations we've had where when the pillar, being the father, passes on, and have it be suddenly without a will per se, or maybe there's a will there but the will didn't, you know what I mean? The carpet is literally swept under their feet. And it is, luckily your house, he already built the house.
Yeah, in the village,
yes,
a big one. And then where we were staying, he had bought 2 houses from the mayor, the outgoing mayor of Mombasa. So we were, we were okay.
At least that was sorted.
Yeah, so our mom opted to rent one house in Tudor, and we lived in one house.
Okay.
So we didn't struggle as far as having a roof over our head.
Yeah. Still, man, okay. Apologies for that. But I think that's a crucial point to just talk, so that I want people thinking you've just been handed a silver spoon.
No, man.
But so here you are in high school. You guys now as a band are going to Malindi every Wednesday.
Yeah.
To, what hotel is this?
Eden Rock Hotel.
Eden Rock Hotel.
Yeah.
To perform for the guests who are there. Yeah. What songs are you performing?
By that time, we had transitioned from Congolese music and Tanzanian music to Western pop music.
Who the Western pop for that time?
You know, the Boney M's, but Boney M came much later. Yeah. Elvis Presley. Yeah. And whatever hits were songs that were big. Yes. In the West, we managed to get them, and we were doing cover versions of those. So
this is to the guests who are there, and those guests are. It's not like now where there's been an increase in local tourism.
Yeah.
At that time, it's just whites,
purely whites.
In fact, I said the transition happened. This transition happened when terrorism started happening. That's when I feel like hotels in Mombasa opened up to local tourism.
Indeed, indeed. They never used to consider local tourism or local tourists. They didn't.
What?
2 things happened, like you say, terrorism and the SGR.
Ooh, yeah. The SGR is also another big game changer.
Yeah, 3 in fact. Terrorism, devolution, and the SGR.
Aha.
Yeah.
Devolution?
Yeah, devolution took money to...
But the question is it really getting to where it should be getting?
No. You look at the activities in the devolved counties, you know, there's so much happening. People who have moved to urban areas investing back there.
Okay.
So it's created a lot of employment, a lot of flow of, money.
Okay.
And now you find, like, I'm not I'm not their marketer.
Yes,
but the train is full from Wednesday.
Yep.
Down to Mombasa. The train is full from Wednesday. You can't get a seat.
What do you mean? Even now, if you book for 24th, you can't.
You can't get... Yeah, they've booked for the festive season.
Yes.
So you see now, that saved the coast region.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's wonderful. So let's continue with this high school story. So you're playing. So this is the first time you guys are playing now in a venue. Had you been playing in a venue as the Mushrooms before this?
We had, but not as a resident band.
Where were you playing before?
We would do the wedding receptions.
Yes.
We would do, local functions. And sometimes the government would call us in on Madaraka Day or something like that. The county, municipal council,
yes,
things like that.
So you within Mombasa this time, it sounds like there's a name that you're creating for yourselves. Yeah,
but actually, it was in 3 years from 72. That's when the band started. By 1973, now we were transitioning into the hotel circuit. Reason being, we used to do the weddings, and one day we went to a wedding, and some goons just attacked us when we were on break. Why? Because we were performing and all the girls were crazy about us. These guys didn't like it. They timed us when we were going on break and they came and really messed us up. You know, Teddy almost lost his eye that day because they came from nowhere and they just hit him in the eye, and he's been wearing glasses, spectacles since he was 5 years old.
Yeah.
So that day they hit him, a blow in the face. It broke the glass. Unajua za zamani ilikuwa it broke the glass. Luckily it cut him somewhere there, and then by God's grace the glass slipped outwards. So it was like what do you call this nowadays, wanabandika?
Shades?
No, contact lens.
Okay.
Yeah. So the lens just slipped on the eyeball.
Yeah.
It didn't puncture the eyeball.
Yes, I hear you.
So we just packed our instruments in the van and left. Wakitufukuza kabisa.
What?
And that was the last show we did.
For wedding?
Hizo local places. Not for weddings, but hizo tulikuwa tunaita dances za mabomani. They just put up coconut palm leaves around, and then it's already a venue. You know? So we never did that anymore. And we said we have to transition now to the hotel circuit. Why? One, they only play for 4 hours. This other end, we start at 7 to 6 in the morning. They're being paid almost 5 times more of what we earn on this side.
How much are you being paid at this time?
1,000, 2,000. It was enough for the transport, and you go home with at least 2-3 shillings, you know. You'll be surprised, because even in the beach hotels, a beer back then was 75 cents.
What are you telling me? I could throw for the whole of Nairobi right now.
Yeah, and then when it became slowly, it got to 1 shilling, 150, you know.
So they were paying you, did you say 1,000?
It was very little money, 1,000, 1,200. That back then, that's somebody's...
per month?
No, for the show.
1,000?
But it was a lot of money, man.
That's what I'm saying. That's a lot.
You know, your grandchildren today, in the near future, will ask, hey, Guka, ulikuwa mnanunua chips kwa pesa ngapi? Oh, we used to buy it for 100 bob. Aye! 100 bob? We are buying it for 500.
1,000.
Yeah. So it's the same, you know.
Yeah.
Sasa ilikuwa hivyo.
No, that's what I'm saying. What you were being paid was a lot. 1,000 shillings then.
Yeah.
That was some
But that
good
was
money.
everything included. Wenye ndio mnalipia transport. You go and hire the equipment.
Oh, you don't have equipment at this time.
We didn't have equipment.
So where were you hiring from?
There were other bands, and there were people who used to hire. They had a set or two, and they used to hire.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, okay, then let's transition then into this. Where does high school go after that? And of course, the mushrooms go in line with that.
Okay. High school, mainly Maliza, I was called to the Egerton or Egerton, whichever way you want to pronounce it, college, because I passed well.
Yes.
Ah, man. And then I wanted to be a doctor.
Okay, let's do this, guys. He's talked about finishing high school. We'll be back to continue this story. Yeah, that's how we do it right here. I know we've gotten a lot of new guests because of the name that you saw. So we're going to stop, and then we're going to continue in a bit. See you in a bit.